Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this tutorial I'll be showing you how you can create this karaoke flyer with easy steps which I'll be breaking down so you'll be able to understand it perfectly well. We'll be doing this together from scratch to finish. And before I forget, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button and make sure to turn the post notification on so you won't miss any video I'll be dropping anytime soon. And for all of you that have always supported my videos by liking, by commenting, by sharing, I want to say a big thank you to all of you. You guys are my refugees. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I would like to do first is for this tutorial I'll be using the CorelDraw 2020. So I'll go up here to where I have my file and click on new. So I'll just give it a name. I'll give it a karaoke flyer, and everything stays the same. The width set to 5, the height set to 5, then the resolution stays at 300. Haven't done all of this, I click OK. So I haven't done this. The next thing I would like to do is I'll double click on the rectangle tool like I've always done before to create another shape. This is what and where we'll be working on. So everything we'll have to be designing has to be inside of this rectangle. So if you are using the current CorelDraw 2021, you might not have this option of double clicking on it to have the rectangle inside like this. So what you do is simply draw out your rectangle and give it the same diameter as this one you have here. So I'll just make it, select the rectangle, make it 5 by 5. And when you've done that, click enter and press P on your keyboard to take it to the center of your page. So that's how you get it done, guys, so you don't have to worry about that. So first things first, what I would like to do is I would like to work on my text and background. But before I get to the text, I'll make the background black. So I'll just come here and click on this black color. Right, good. So so the next thing I want to do now, I'm not going to go with this dark black. I'm just going to make it this one, not too black and all of that. We might end up increasing it later. So I'll start with this first, which is this one here, 90% black. So what I'll do is click on it, remove the outline. Make sure you always remove the outlines. Good. So this is what I have, right? So I would start with my text. Now the font I use for this is Kenyan Coffee. So I'll just, first and foremost, I'll type my karaoke first. And I'll make it white like this. And I'll go over here where I have my text and I'll type Kenyan coffee. Yeah, that's it. Good. And I'll come up here and select italic. Good. So this is what I used. So what I can just do is I'll just make this bigger, right? And when I'm okay with where I have it right now, I can just go over to my shape tool and reduce the spaces in between the text. I don't want too much spaces. So I'll go over Ctrl C and Ctrl V to make a duplicate copy of the karaoke, and I would highlight the text and change this to night, right? So I'll make this night bigger, not too big, somewhat like this, and then I'm good with it this way. We'll make sure the color is set to white, right? So I'll change this to white, just like this. And I'll go over to my text tool again, and I'll just type. So I'll impute the remaining of my text. So studio presents. So you could say your studio presents or whichever the case may be. So for this one, I'm going to change the color to white. And I'm going to choose this font, right? I'll make it bold. And I'll just reduce the size like this. I can come up here too and make it italic like this. And I can also go on to make it smaller, somewhat like this, not too much. Zoom closely so I see one being clearly, and I'll position this here like this. So when I'm done, I'll click out, and I want to move this a little bit upwards. So I would select everything like this and hold down the shift key, select everything like this and drag up like this, guys. Good. So I'll just go on adding my text. So next one I'll add in is the every Friday. I also used a different font for this, which is the lemon milk. So I'll just go over to my text and select lemon milk, and everything I'm using, I'm basically going to be making it italic like this. Good. I make it bold, right? So every Friday. So I'll just make this white first. I'll still change this and place this here. I'll make a duplicate copy of this every Friday. Ctrl C and Ctrl V. I'll bring this downwards and I would type the other things I'll be using with the same font. So I have country music, funk, jazz, and rock and roll. Then blues. Alright guys, I'll select this one, my alignments, and click on center. As you can see guys, make sure it's centralized. I'll reduce the size with hierarchy in mind. Reduce the size like this and place this here like this. So what I want to do, I want to close up the spaces in between the text. So I'll go up here to my shape tool and drag up like this. Good. So when I'm done, I'll click on F4 or function F4 as the case may be for you, and I'll move this a little bit closer like this to this point, right guys? And I would make a duplicate copy of this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and highlight everything and type the other details. So I have door opens at 10 p.m. Then slash entry $, then 50, then enter and free drink, then free parking. Okay, great. So I'll move this also closer to this point, not too much, somewhere like this is fine and good. And make a duplicate copy of this again, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and bring this down. Now I would use this for the venue. I'm just doing my typing so I get the feel of everything I want to do first before I bring in my other elements. Yeah, so I'll type studio 1, that's the venue, and because this is the venue, I will make it bigger, right, and position this here. Then I would copy this font because I want to use this for the address. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'll bring this down here like this and make it a little bit smaller. Of course, I'll make it less bolder, so I'll turn off the bold. Good. So I'll type in the venue. So it's 1, 2, 3 Orleans Drive, New York City. Of course, there's no New York without the city in it. So I'll put this here. So guys, I can make this small, hold down the shift and reduce from the sides. Guys, reduce from the side, not like this, from the edges like this. That's how to reduce your text. Or you can come here and change the value. So I'll just set mine to 5 and make sure it's in the middle like this, and I'm good. Okay guys, so what I've just done is I've just given myself the visual scape of how I want my design to go with my typography and the arrangement like this. So the next thing I want to do is I'll start adding my elements inside of the designs. So what I'll do is I'll bring my first element, go over to my source file attached below this video. As always, you have a link to get these files so you can work with. So first thing I want to do is I would like to bring in my brush, which is this one. It's an SVG file. It means you can always, SVG means scalable vector graphics. So you can bring it inside of CorelDraw and you can make adjustment to it with little or no stress. So I'll just drag this inside like this and bring inside of CorelDraw. I'll just drag and drop. So being an SVG file, so I can easily change the color. I can give it any color of my choice while it's still like this, and I can also place things inside. So what I'll just do is I'll just leave it here and go over to my resource file where I have them. I'll bring in this good foil, this one here. So I'll just drag and drop inside of CorelDraw. So this is the good foil I used. So since I'm going to be using this good foil repeatedly, so what I'll do is I'll make copies of it. So Ctrl C and Ctrl V. I'll just place this somewhere here. Yeah, guys, always learn to take advantage of your CorelDraw space. So you can place any of your elements around, but just make sure at the end of the day everything is inside of this page like this. Very, very important. So what I'll do with this one first, I'll power clip it inside of this brush stroke. This one I have here, this SVG file we brought inside. So how do I do that? Right click on this gold foil, right click on it and click on power clip. So selecting it, this weird arrow would come outside. So just click on this SVG file. So click inside and immediately it goes inside of this brush. So with this done, what we want to do is we want to power clip this brush inside of this drawing page. So what we'll do is right click on it, then click on power clip inside, then click on this rectangle. This is our box we drew the first time. This is our page. So I'll click on it and immediately it goes inside, but you see it's not in the right place. So what you need to do is double click on it like this, double click on the shape, and as you can see now I can access the SVG file. So what I'll just do is I'll just drag it up and make sure it's somewhere here, and we're good to go. And I also want it to be somewhere here too, so I'll just drag it down like this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V to copy and paste, of course, and drag it down. So putting it here, I want to position this very well so it sits well. So what I'll do is I'll click on it again, so it brings out this transform controls. So I can turn it like this and I can skew it like this. These are all controls. So what I'll just do basically with this is I'll just turn it, I won't skew it, then I'll make it bigger. So I'll just, from the edge like this, I'll just drag out so it becomes bigger like this. So having done this, I'm okay with it. I will just zoom out to see. So I have one here and one here. So having done this, I will click outside and click finish. Good. So guys, that's the first step. So next thing I will want to do also is I want to make adjustments. I would also be adding this good foil to this knight here. So I will make a duplicate copy of it, Ctrl C and Ctrl V, bring outside so I'll see what I'm doing clearly. So I would like to first and foremost convert this to curve. So I'll go to objects and convert to curves, or I can right click and convert to curve. The shortcut to that is Ctrl Q. So I'll just convert it to curve. Now I can easily place this because it's no longer a text again, it's now an object. So I can put this inside here. So what I'll just do is I'll just right click and click on power clip inside, and I will select the night and place it inside. Double click on it to adjust it well like this properly so it's seated well. So having done this, I'll just click on finish. Good. As you can see guys, our design is beginning to come alive. So what I will do with this, because with this karaoke tool I will also add an effect to it. So what I will do is I'll convert it to curve tool, right click, convert to curve, and I'll go over to my resource file. And okay, so I'll just leave this like this. Let me leave the karaoke like this. There's no need to add an extra effect to it. So let me undo that. So it's still a text like this. So I'll just leave it. Now the next thing I need to do is I would bring in my other resource file. But before I do that, I want to apply I want to make adjustment to this part. So what I'll do is I'll go over and select it. So what I'll do is I'll go over and select the rectangle tool, select it like this, and draw a rectangle around here. Now this rectangle would obviously house this every Friday because I want it to stand out. I don't want it to be the same color just as you have with the other text here. So I'll just drag and drop like this. So I'll change the color, but before I change the color to white, I would want to change the color of this text. So I'll give it a random color. I can make it this yellow. I'll be changing it. So I'll click on the rectangle, which is this one we just drew here, and make it white. So I haven't done this. As you can see, obviously it's covering the every night. So we don't want that. I'll remove the outline first. Then I'll click on Control Page Down. Can you see now? It's currently on top now. So I can now change this every Friday from yellow to black like this. This is the color we'll be using. Okay guys, so having done this, I'll go over to my resource file and bring in of course our microphone for the karaoke. So what I'll just do is I'll just drag and drop inside of CorelDraw like this, and of course it will be big. So I'll just go over to the top edge like this, hold down your shift key and resize like this. You can see. So but we want this microphone facing this other side. So to do that, I'll just come here and click on mirror horizontally. Can you see guys? So it's facing the other side. So having done this, I would also be power clipping this inside of this rectangle we have here. So I'll just cut it. Since we have things inside of this shape, I'll just cut this, Ctrl X to cut it, and let me zoom close so we'll see what we're doing perfectly. Double click on this shape and Ctrl V to paste it. So what we just did was just cut and paste. So I would make this a little bit smaller again and position this well somewhere like this. I think is nice and good. I'll move this closer a bit like this, and at this point I'm good with this, so I'll just click finish to complete the process. But as you can see now, we have a problem because this rectangle, this shape now is in front of this microphone, which we don't want. So what we can do is we'll cut it, Ctrl X to cut it, double click on the rectangle and paste it inside, Ctrl V, and we'll make sure it's behind the mic. So how do we do that? Select the microphone and click on shift page up to bring it. So as you can see now, the rectangle is still there, see, but the microphone is in front of it just the way we want it. So having done this, I'll just click on finish, and as you can see guys, it's now behind it. Another thing I want to do again, we're almost done with this design. So what I want to do again is I would want to make a duplicate copy of this microphone and create a reflection of this microphone here. So what I want to do is I'll double click on the rectangle again, Now selecting the microphone, I'll press Ctrl C and Ctrl V, that is to copy and paste. So what I'll do is, this out of the way, I'll come up here to where I have my effects. I'll go to adjust. Under adjust, I'll select image adjustment lab. So while I'm here, let me click on reset to remove every action that I've done before. While you are here, just like Photoshop, for my Photoshop users that are also learning this, it's just like what you have in Photoshop Camera Raw. So, but this one is not as complex as you have there. As you can see, you have your temperature, your tint, your saturation, and brightness, contrast, your highlights, your shadows, and your midtones. So you can make adjustment to any of this. But basically, for what we want to do now, what we'll be focusing on is the saturation. So I'll just come in and reduce my saturation like this. As you can see, guys, what I've done is I've removed the colors from the image. This is what I want to do. So having done this, I'll just click OK, and haven't done this, I'll come over to my transparency tool, click on it, and click on this first one that says uniform transparency. Click on it, and I will just manually set my transparency to 75. As you can see, I'll click enter. Good. So I haven't done this. This is still in front, so we want this to be behind the microphone, the gold microphone itself. So what we just need to do is press shift page down. As you can see now, it has gone behind, but I'll just drag it up here because this is where I want it to be, and make it a little bit bigger, just like this, and shift it to this side so you have a perfect reflection. Let me bring it to this part. Okay, I just bring it to this part. So when you're done, just click on finish, and that's all, guys. As I've currently observed, the effects seem to be still too much. So what I can do is I'll go back inside there and click on the microphone and click on transparency and bump it up to, let's say, 85 or 86. I'll stick to 86, and when I'm done, I'll click finish. As you can see, guys, it has blended nicely to the background. I'll go back to my selection, to my pick tool, and I'll just be adding a few effects to it. But before I get to that, I'll be creating a location icon, right? So just so this location stands out too. So the first thing I want to do is I'll go over to my freehand tool. Currently, I'll click on this, and I would click and hold. Just come up here and click and hold, and make sure you are selecting your pen tool. So I'll select the pen tool, I'll come down here, and first thing I want to do is I'll create this shape. So I'll click, and click here, and also click here too. Alright, guys, so let me zoom close to see what we're doing clearly. So I'll come up here and click on shape tool and move this in place. Good. By selecting the node, I'll just move in place like this. So I want it here. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to create a circle. So I'll just come up here and create a circle like this. Make sure you hold down your control while you're drawing this circle. So I would move this to the edge here and just drag this out till it gets to the other edge, right? So I have a perfect shape like this. So having done this, so now you have a circle and you have a triangle, right? So I'll click on the circle, Ctrl C and Ctrl V to make a quick copy of the circle. And what I want to do again is holding down the shift key with the circle selected, I'll just take this inside like this, right? As you can see, guys. So I'll just move this to the side while I do justice to this tool. So with this circle selected and holding, I will hold down, with this circle selected, I'll hold down my shift key and select the triangle, and I will come up here and click on weld. Now what I just did is I just joined these two shapes together. So having done this, I'll just bring this inside like this and move this in place and make sure it's somewhere in the middle. Having done this, as you can see now, location icon is beginning to make sense, right? So what we'll just do with this circle selected, I will select this one to holding down my shift key, select this one and come up here and click on trim. Great. So having done this, I'll move this out. I can do it with this. So I click on delete on my keyboard. So what I've just done is I've just created a location icon using shapes in CorelDraw. So what I need to do is I need to modify it a little bit, and what I'll just do, I'll go to my shape tool, and I'll come down here and drag this up, holding down my shift key, so it's not too much. Good. So I haven't done this. I'll give it a random color, which is this yellow, and I'll position it well here like this. I'll click on F4 to see what I'm doing correctly. Now, the last thing I'll be doing to this shape is putting this good foil inside of it. So what I'll just do is I'll bring this closer and zoom closer. Selecting the good foil, I'll right click again like we've done before, click on power clip inside. When this arrow comes out, just select the location icon and bam. So now it has the good foil effect. So I'll just click on F4 to zoom out like this and we're good to go. So now, having done all of this, I want to make an extra modification. So I will change the color now. As you can see, it's not a deep black. We use the 90% black. So now I want to change it to this one here, which is the 100% black, the first one, the first black, if you are using an RGB. So I'll just click on it. As you can see now, the black is now punchy and solid enough. So the next thing I'll be doing is adding our lighting effect. So what I want to do is I would select my ellipse tool like this and hold down the control key and of course make this bigger like this. So what I want to do is I'd want to apply the effect I applied to I want to sample the color from this microphone I have here. So what I will do is I'll go to my eyedropper tool, select it, and I want to use this color here, this one here. Make sure you're not selecting the darker shade. The darker shade, I mean, like this one. You're selecting something that looks like yellow and orange, or something in between. So I'll select this, I'll click on it and apply it to my ellipse, right? Don't forget to always remove the outline. So I'll make a duplicate copy of this and just place it here, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. With this first one selected, what I want to do is I want to apply lighting effect to, and please, when you're applying a lighting effect, make sure you're applying the effect to the places that already has highlights. Like as you can see here now, you have your highlights here. As you can see, it's bright, right? You also have your highlights here and you have your highlights here too. So those are the areas. You don't go adding your light effect to places that don't have highlights, that have shadows. That's a trick, right? Good. So what you want to do is go to your transparency, click on it and select this first one, fountain transparency, and select this one that says elliptical fountain transparency, right? So when you've done that, I'll change the blending mode from normal to screen. So change it to screen, and when you change the screen, it becomes a little bit brighter. So I'll just move this to place. As you can see, this is before. So when you move this closer like this, as you can see now, because it has highlights there in that position, it becomes brighter. So if I move this to another region, so I'll make a duplicate copy of this by pressing Ctrl C and Ctrl V. As you can see, you can choose to leave it there and make this area brighter, but I would choose to move it to this region because I have a highlight here. So I'll move it here, but what I'll do is I'll make this smaller here. So I'll just make this effect smaller so it covers here. So I can choose to make it smaller a little bit more. Ctrl C and Ctrl V to intensify the effect. and I can move it to another region here. You can see I have and I have highlights here too, so I can move it here and move it in place. Good, right? I'll delete this because I won't be using this, so I'll just make it F4. To add extra effects, I would Ctrl C and Ctrl V and bring this outside like this, right? So what I want to do is this one. I want to make this in like a glittering effect. So what I want to do is I would hold down Shift key from the edge like this. I'll drag it inside, right? Good. So from having done this, what I want to do is I want to make copies of this. So Ctrl C and Ctrl V to make copy of this. So what I want to do is I would click it again to bring in this option. So I'll rotate it like this, holding down my Shift key, and make sure it's straight like this, and I'll release like this, right? So I can make other options going around. I'll click on this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, I'll click it and turn it. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, I'll turn it again like this. Ctrl C and Ctrl V to turn it one last time like this. Okay, so having done this, I'll select everything and make it smaller. Then I would right click and group it, so it's a group like this. So what I can do is I can make this smaller like this, and I'll just move it in place like this. So I can move it in place like this, so I can create a glittering effect. I can move this in place, and just so I have that effect, right? Can make this bigger here, okay, and select this one, make it bigger here too. Hold down Shift and increase the size, and this one here I'll again move to this position where I have my highlights and also make it bigger, as you can see, guys. So that's why I said it's always good to make sure you are adding this lighting effect to areas that already have highlights. For example, now look at this text. If you watch closely, you have an highlight here. So I can move this and I move this. So I can move this and position this here, and I can still get my effects because I have an highlight here. So that's how you go about it. So add this lighting effect to areas that already have highlights in your designs. So guys, the last thing I'll do is I want to make this smaller. I don't want it to be too obvious. Make it smaller and just move it up a bit like this, and I'll double click and select this brush, and I can make it a little bit bigger, increase the size like this, make it bigger, move it to this position like this, and F4. When I'm done, I'll just click out and click finish. Great. Okay guys, this brings me to the end of this tutorial section. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop in the comment section. If you like this video, if you like the process, kindly give it a thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed yet, maybe you're still thinking about it, please kindly hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to click the post notification so you won't miss the next video I will be dropping soon. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.